forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the vital speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
Look here, that 40 years I had, let me tell you, I had 40 years, when you think about it, in a federal prison.
Because I found out I had $200-some million. I'm in prison with 40 years. Something ain't matching up. Because I wasn't going to talk on Marie. When I bring Marie in here and sit here with you, she going to tell you, I could have gave her up. But I don't rock like that.
And we talking about the
Marie Preston.
The great
Marie Preston. Yeah. The richest black woman ever in the state of Texas.
Griselda Blanco.
Yeah, her.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no woman ever had the money she had.
There you go. That's what I was going to say. And she was a black woman.
Yeah, black woman.
Apartment. First I bought me a house at 45. Then I turned around and bought me a big house on the golf course where I could play golf every day. And I played golf and I traveled the world. I played golf everywhere.
Which golf course you bought your home?
Inwood Forest. Had a big house right there at Inwood Forest. Member of Inwood Forest Country Club. Okay. When they didn't want no blacks to be out there, my banker called and said, y'all don't know who y'all dealing with. She got the money. She need to be a member, and they let me be a member of the golf course.
Inwood Forest.
Inwood Forest Country Club.
We're in Wood Forest, which is right in between Montgomery and the Woodlands, Texas, up on the north side of Houston. Wood Forest is arguably the best master plan community in the entire Houston area, possibly even the country. The things that make Wood Forest so special are gonna be its trees. It's literally a wood forest. It's got more trees than anywhere you will ever visit in your life. It's got parks, it's got splash pads, tennis courts, pools, and not just any pools. We're talking full-on water parks that are a golf cart ride away.
There's absolutely something to be said about people who make something from nothing. In the world of country clubs where exclusivity reigns supreme, being black still raises eyebrows, and that's in today's world. But back in the 1980s, it was damn near unheard of. Country clubs have long been more than just playgrounds for the rich. They were fortresses built on legacy, power, and silent discrimination, where their set of unwritten rules would say loud and clear, people like you don't belong here. But Martha Marie Preston wasn't interested in playing by their rules, and she wasn't waiting for an invitation. She brought her seat at the table. Before diversity was trending, and before corporations were pretending that they cared, Martha Marie Preston was already on the inside. In Texas, where clubs like Wood Forest would one day charge up to $20,000 just to walk into the door, and nearly $10,000 a year just to stay in, she didn't just get in, she would become a member, and not just that, she bought a house right on the course. And she did this in the 1980s. Coming from Houston's infamous Fifth Ward, a neighborhood more known for crime and poverty than the country club views, Martha Marie's rise was nothing short of legendary. You gotta look at it this way. Wood Forest wasn't just a place for playing golf. For her, it was a battleground. And her presence on that course, that was a statement, loud and undeniable. And it said, you told me I didn't belong, but I'm here anyway. Her moves wasn't just bold, it was revolutionary, because when Martha Marie Preston walked onto that golf course, she wasn't supposed to be there, but she was. Allegedly, they say she would go on to become the richest black woman in the state of Texas, and maybe, just maybe, in a few other states if she'd lived there at that time. And she did it all off of one thing: hustle. As
you know, as I was making the money and I saw that I could make more I had a job. I was working for a conductor printed circuit, and I had electrical shock. I got shocked on that job. So that little money they paid me, my husband left. He said, no, this ain't for me no more. He don't want a wife anymore. He left, and that left me there with my daughter and my family, my sisters and brothers. So my brother came to me and said, listen, I got a deal. We can take some of your money and we could work it. And I said, well, what we gonna do? He said, we're gonna buy some syrup. I said, oh, we can make money with syrup. And at that time, it was Robitussin cough syrup.
Yes.
I did not know what it was. I thought it was regular syrup at first. He said, we're gonna, but what we do, you give me some money, I'll go get some syrup, and we're gonna flip it. And I said, well, how much you need? It was a couple of $1,000. I gave him that. He took that and he flipped it. He brought back, he gave me my $2,000 back and gave me an extra $1,200, something like that. I said, oh, that's pretty good. And he said, we can do this all the time. We can make money. And I said, hold up. You've been gone 3 days with my money. Where you going? And he told me I'm going out of town, Holligan, Brownsville, and then cross the border. I said, well, listen, take me with you. I said, if you're gonna spend my money, I'm going with my money. So he took me down to Brownsville, and I stayed at they had what you call a boarding house. I stayed in the boarding house while he go and take care of business.
About what year is this?
Okay, that was like 72.
Okay.
Okay, so he go and take care of business. Then he bring the money back. But for me, I felt like something wrong with this picture. I couldn't be getting, I don't believe you gave me my fair share. Must have been about 23, 24 or something like that.
Okay.
I said, I'm not getting my fair share. No, it was 73. I'm short, about 21, 22, something like that. So I said, I'm short. And then he said, well, if you meet them, you got to go to Matamoros, Mexico. So I said, well, take me, I'll go.
No gene or any neighborhood creates more hustlers than poverty. When your back is against the wall and there's no safety net to catch you, survival becomes innovation. Every closed door becomes a challenge, and every setback is a lesson. In poverty, resources are scarce, but ambition is heavy. And for those willing to bet on themselves, hustle becomes second nature. And it's not about greed, it's about getting out, escaping the noise of broken neighborhoods, empty refrigerators, and dead-end options. Now, science backs this up. Hunger doesn't just affect the stomach, it alters the brain. So it's like this: when your body experiences hunger, the brain's hypothalamus triggers survival mechanisms, heightening your focus, drive, and urgency, with the hunger pains stimulating a release of ghrelin, a hormone that not only increases appetite, but also impacts decision-making, motivation, and memory. So basically, being hungry doesn't just make you want food, it makes you want more. People will say that hustlers are born, but they're not. They're molded by the grind, and they're shaped by the silence of struggle and sharpened by the pressure of having nothing but the will to win.
A lot of crack sold out of this place right here. It's boarded up now, too.
Riding the streets with the police these days, you can get an earful. That's because more and more kids still wet behind the ears are into drugs. All last year, only one juvenile was arrested in Dallas for selling drugs. So far this year, 23 have been arrested. Overall drug arrests show mostly kids 15 and 16, but even children as young as 12 have been taken into custody.
All the violent type crimes, we're seeing a quite an increase this year over last year.
In neighborhoods like this across North Texas, many kids get involved with drugs simply because of economics. These are poor families, and when a child can bring in several $100s a week, many times parents turn the other way.
It's easy money, you know, just stand up for a couple of dollars. Watch out. If you see the police, let somebody know they're coming.
That's the most common type, kids call good eyes, who keep watch for the dealers.
See, there you go, see, right up there. See, she's standing right down there at the door, and the minute the police car come up, she closed the gate and went right back up the stairs.
Some kids are easily lured into working for dealers.
Like, their mama may be gone, their daddy may have left when they was baby, they don't know about it, like. And so don't nobody be around to watch it and tell them not to do it, so they just go ahead on.
Police agree families can be the root of the problem, but say it's tough to get the kids off the street, and they're bringing in money for food. Brian Mylar, Texas News 5.
But tell us about the hustle game. So at 8, your mother left you. Y'all had to fend for yourself with your father working all the time.
Yes.
Tell me when you started hustling, as we nickname and say.
Yeah. Well, I think it was probably around 8 or 9 after she left. Me and my brother, a brother of mine, we used to go to a place called a Hobo Jungle. It was a railroad track that kind of ran through the city. And on the other side of the track, it had these jungles, you know, like trees in the woods, and hobos would come through on the train, and they would get off and maybe spend a couple of days in that jungle before they moved on. And we would go over and find these hobos. And back then, I never saw a black hobo. They was all white hobos.
White hobos.
And I would go there, and they'd be sitting around this fire they'd be made, and we would go up to them, me and my brother, and we'd cut a deal. We'd tell them, listen, here's what we got. We can take you to the community to get some food. But the deal is, when you get it, you got to split it with us. Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, okay, we can do that. And say, now we're going to tell you the people houses that have money. We think that's rich. Mm-hmm. You go there, and they're going to give you the food, but we're going to split it. And they said, okay. So we would take them to what we call back to our community, and we would turn at a person's house and stand on the corner and watch them go. And they would open the bag, and the people would go come to the door, and then they knock, they open the door, and they go back, they shut the door, and when they shut the door, we thought, oh no, they're not going to give them anything. But they would come back in a few minutes, open the door, and fill that bag up. Just give them a bag of stuff. And we knew then we didn't hit gold. We didn't hit the jackpot. We'd get back to the Hobo Jungle. We'd make them spread it out, and we would count it. That's really how I learned how to count. If they gave them 10 cookies out, we count 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me. You know, there's 2 cookies, we get it. So we would split the bread, we split the meat, and we split the cookies. And so that's how we survived. We take that and we would eat ourselves, and then we would run home and split it with the rest of our sisters and brothers. So we started hustling back then.
If you're not from the city of Houston, you might think all of this is made up. A woman who looked more like your aunt or your grandmother than the boss of a drug empire. But make no mistake, Martha Marie Preston was the real deal. And one of the biggest factors in her rise wasn't just the poverty she endured. It was her location. Texas, a state perfectly positioned in one of the most critical drug corridors in America. And in the 1980s, Texas was right up there with 2 places you could almost consider cocaine hubs during that time, New York and Los Angeles, when it came to prices. So if you was in Texas and you knew the game and you was in the loop, you were sitting on a gold mine.
Cocaine like this 900-pound confiscation last summer in Big Bend country, which originated in Colombia. The DEA cautiously claims that busts like this one are hurting supplies, citing a steep rise in prices in 3 areas. A kilo of cocaine less than $18,000 last fall in New York has virtually doubled. In Los Angeles, the $10,000 to $15,000 price has jumped to $25,000. And in Dallas-Fort Worth, a kilo that cost roughly $18,000 has gone up as much as $5,000.
Martha Marie Preston had all of the looks of success. A self-made millionaire, a sharp businesswoman, a high-profile nightclub owner with money, charm, and a reputation that turned heads in Houston's elite circles. But behind the glitz of her public image was a criminal empire. On the streets and in the headlines, they called her the Texas Queen. And according to law enforcement, Martha Marie wasn't just a regular player in the drug game. She was a mastermind. Operating primarily out of Houston, she would use her legitimate businesses, including nightclubs like the Myosha Club, as covers for something a little more sinister. Now, the DEA and Houston police would launch a 4-year undercover investigation targeting her empire. They would build their case with controlled buys, wiretaps, and surveillance footage. And based on their evidence, they would determine that Martha Marie not only funded the network, she would run it. And taped conversations, she was personally heard negotiating multiple kilo cocaine deals, coordinating shipments, and overseeing deliveries through a web of her trusted intermediaries. And by the 1980s, investigators claimed that her drug network was responsible for nearly 50% of all the cocaine trafficking in the state of Texas. And she would do all of that behind a veil of legitimacy, powered by charisma, street smarts, and a financial savvy only seen in Fortune 500 CEOs. And to the outside world, she was a successful entrepreneur. But to the federal authorities, she was a queen pin hiding in plain sight.
Look here, at 40 years I had, let me tell you, I had 40 years. When you think about it, in a federal prison, when they sent me there, everybody said, that's it, it's over for her. And let me tell you, I deserve to be there. Let me tell you what happened to me. I was out here driving a Rolls Royce on my way to hell. Hell-bound. Plenty of money in my pocket. Big houses on the golf course. Had everything I thought I wanted. But guess what? I was losing my soul. Running around here in the daytime, acting like, wearing that different hat, them different clothes, acting like I'm a businesswoman in the daytime and a drug dealer at night. You see what I'm saying? Let me tell you, God ain't pleased with that. He said, enough is enough. And he set me down, put me in a place where I had to wish him. When my money ran out, and they said that my money was going to get me out, I kept spending it and thinking, I ain't worried about it. I'm going home. My money going to set me free. But I found out it's something that money can't buy. Hey, only Jesus can fix it. And let me tell you what happened. While I was there, I lost all my appeals, and the lawyers told me, you're going to have to do that 40 years, Queen. I said, what? I got to do the 40 years. And just about that time, the devil creeped in my life and eased up on me. Said, no, you don't. Go take your life. And I thought about it for just a minute, that if I'm going to be all right. And I thought about my daddy. And I called my father on the phone, and he led me to the 23rd numbers of Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Hey, look at here. And as I started reading this word, called my dad, and he lead me to the word, and he told me to put that Bible under my head. And when I put it under my head at night, I could go to sleep. See, I found peace in the word. You said, it's power in God's word. Hey, it's deliverance in his word, Doc. I'm here to tell you, hey. And then I ended up forgetting about myself and started helping other people on the inside. Ended up going to law school, getting my paralegal license. I said, I ain't gonna worry about me. I'm gonna help these young people in here get themselves out. And one day while I was helping somebody else, look here, up jumped my freedom. I said, look how God works. He's a good God.
By September of 1988, the authorities was closing in. The federal government would unseal a 23-count indictment naming Martha Marie Preston, Johnny Bender Jr., and more than 24 others in a massive drug conspiracy. The charges included conspiracy to possess and distribute cocaine in both crack and powdered form. Martha Marie, along with Johnny Binder Jr., would be identified as the operations leaders, facing additional charges under a continued criminal enterprise statute, a law aimed directly at high-level drug kingpins. Although the jury didn't convict her on that charge, it wouldn't mean she got away. Martha Marie was found guilty on 4 counts, including 2 separate cases of aiding and abetting the distribution of cocaine on February 2nd and 25th of 1987, along with attempting to influence a federal witness. The sentence, 40 years in prison, $60,000 fine for each drug charge, an additional 21 months for the witness tampering, on top of 2-year supervised release after her time behind bars. Undercover agents had recorded phone calls where Martha Marie acknowledged cocaine deals and arranged new ones. The surveillance, the audio, the testimony would show exactly how much a power player Martha Marie was. After losing all her appeals and staring down at a 40-year sentence, she would decide to make a shift to help young inmates that would come in with the same charges that she was looking at. She would go on to say that prison was the best thing that could have happened to me. I made my first million by the time I was 23. I was running too fast. Prison forced me to stop and think. And while incarcerated, Martha Marie Preston would earn her paralegal certification, become a model inmate, and use her voice to advocate for criminal justice reform from the inside. And it would be out of the kindness of her heart, helping out other inmates in the same situation that she was in, when she would find the loophole in the federal law system that would set her free. And after serving 10 years of her 40-year sentence, she would be released and she wouldn't look back. Martha Marie Preston would go on to author 2 books, 7 Keys to Spiritual Freedom and the Martha Marie Preston Story, Second Chance, a book I would definitely encourage y'all to go check out. She would found a nonprofit organization, Elite Ladies of Expression Incorporated, dedicated to helping the homeless, at-risk youth, as well as helping formerly incarcerated women find a second chance of their own. Her story began with power, money, and crime, but ended with redemption. From a drug empire to a faith-based entrepreneurship, Martha Marie Preston wouldn't just survive her fall. She rose with a purpose. And by the sounds of it, you're going to have to look for Griselda Blanco if you're looking for a woman that was bigger in the game than Martha Marie Preston. Y'all make sure y'all hit the red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box below. Y'all let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what we missed, what we got wrong, all of that. And y'all make sure y'all tap on me directly on Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. And until our next jug, you know how we rockin'. Shades Popalot. Salute the almighty MOBB.